Hello, traders. Today I wanted to take just a few minutes to introduce you to a tool that can only be found on thinkorswim charts. It's called the Price Time Filtering Bar Count Indicator, and it's used by some traders to identify short-term trends. Let's go acquaint ourselves with this tool. But as we do that, of course, the very first thing we need to do is consider the risks associated with trading or investing. The information here is for general informational purposes only and should not be considered an individualized recommendation or endorsement of any particular security, chart pattern, or investment strategy. Schwab does not recommend the use of technical analysis as a sole means of investment research, and investing involves risks, including the loss of principal. All right, with that important information accomplished, let's go add this thinkorswim exclusive tool to our chart. So here we are on the thinkorswim desktop platform looking at a chart of Netflix. And I'm going to go up here to the studies and let's start typing in price, time, and we're looking for filtering bar count. So let's choose that from our list of studies, add that to our chart, click apply and click OK. And what we're presented with here now is a series of histogram bars, rising green or falling red all around a zero line. And what some traders will use this for is the identification of short-term trends. So let me take just a moment to explain how this tool is built. Then we'll discuss how it might be used. And I want to give you some additional resources to supplement your understanding of the price time filtering bar count indicator. So let's focus on the green. A lot of bulls will be watching this webcast. So when we see those histogram bars rising, it's an indication by this indicator as an upward trend, and that will also be painted onto the individual candles. So instead of seeing green and red or white candles here, we just see green for an uptrend, red for a potential downtrend. So how is the trend defined? Well, it's a fairly straightforward indicator. A great emphasis is placed on Friday's close. Specifically, we look at the last Friday's close. Whenever the indicator has been applied to the chart, we look back to the previous Friday and look to see if the closing value for that week for that charted stock is above the highest point from the week before. So have prices accomplished basically a higher high and closed at those highs. If so, that will kick off a new green uptrend, and that trend will persist unless we see a reversal pattern appear, which would be, looking at Friday, did that close below the previous week's low point? So those are the trigger points to see a reversal of trend. So it really is emphasizing the highs and the lows over a short-term time frame. And what we'll see is that a typical trend will play out over the course of a couple of weeks to several months, and that may assist, let's say, a short-term trader who's identified those trends in selecting whether to be bullish or bearish for that time frame. Now, obviously, as with all technical indicators, no indicator carries a guarantee of performance on a specific trade. But just as an example for Netflix, our trader might have been looking at these periods where we had a persistent short-term uptrend on Netflix, and during that time frame, maybe they were applying some of their own preferred short-term approaches to trading, but trading exclusively bullishly. When we see downward slope in the histogram bars, maybe the trader plans and places short-term bearish trades. Now you'll see there are examples where this might have very well panned out. There are also some examples where we got counter signals that weren't as potentially productive. So as with any indicator, it's not perfect. Now that's just a brief introduction to this tool. Again, I want to emphasize it's only found on thinkorswim. And also, additionally, interestingly, there's only been one video ever made that explains this indicator in greater detail. I made that video just a few days ago. So let me show you a resource to supplement just this short introduction to this indicator. If you haven't done so already, make sure that you have subscribed to our Trader Talks channel. It's called Trader Talks Schwab Coaching Webcasts. But this is where we house all of our webcasts, including these short form videos, but also the longer term videos, typically 30 to 45 minutes, in the playlist. So if I go to playlists here and scroll about halfway down the page, I have a webcast series called Advanced Charting Techniques, and we can find the complete list of completed webcasts right there by clicking on View Full Playlist, and you'll notice the most recent video I made is titled a Thinkorswim Exclusive. This is the first video on YouTube about this chart tool. So you may want to check that one out, but I do hope that this has been helpful to you. If you enjoy the way that I do things, I'd also encourage you to follow me on X if you have an account with that platform. You can find me on X at Cameron May CS is my handle. And if you reply to one of my posts there, I try to reply right back to you. All right. Hopefully this has been helpful to you. I will look for additional indicators to introduce you to and more resources to provide. But hey, whenever I talk to you again, until that moment, I just want to wish you the very best of luck. Happy trading. Bye-bye.